It's time for Savings Appeal. We're joined by Dylan Bond. He's the owner of Bond Financial Services, and we're talking about tips for planning your retirement. We're talking distribution management today.
Right.
Now, there's so many different things that we have to consider when we're retiring. The first is that we need enough money for us.
Right, exactly. Really, the foundation to any good retirement plan is going to be a distribution strategy. When the thing you're giving up when you retire is your paycheck. So you want to make sure that you have a good, solid distribution strategy in place so that you're going to be able to meet your expenses and keep pace with inflation for the rest of your life, really. And there's different ways to do it. First and foremost, I think the first exercise that anybody getting close to retirement or already in retirement should be doing is figuring out what do they need to take into the home per month to cover their expenses. Once we have that, we can then look at what other income sources do they have. Do they have Social Security? Do they have a pension? Plug that in, and then for any deficit that is there, if they don't have enough Social Security and pension to cover their monthly expenses, then we got to figure out what is the most efficient way to create enough income to meet those expenses. Once we have that taken care of, Seth, we can then talk about growing other monies for down the road with inflation and taking care of future income streams.
And that's the difficult part to determine, because you have money from all different sources coming in.
Right.
And you need to put it in more or less a spreadsheet to figure out how you're going to cover those decades and decades without a paycheck. And that's when people come and sit down with you the first time. You have yourself a pen, you have yourself a piece of paper, and that's it.
Yeah, you know, my promise to anybody that meets with me for the first time is we're going to meet with nothing more than a pen, a pad, and a calculator. And all I'm going to try to do is learn as much as I can about that family so I can then put myself in their shoes knowing what I know and help them understand what they're doing, how they're doing it, if they're paying fees that I don't think are necessary, so on and so forth, taking too much risk. We'll go through that all in the first appointment. And then if there is a fit there or there is, I believe, a way I can help them, we'll invite them back in once I've had time to figure things out, get software set up so I can show them where they're at and how long their money will last under certain assumptions. We can then go over that in a second meeting and continue to walk down the road until we decide there is a potential for me to help them, or they're okay and they can continue to go on their way.
Now, Dylan, it's a scary proposition thinking that you have to go decades without a paycheck. So people sit down with you and they meet. But if people have kids, another thing that they're going to want to do is try to put aside a little bit of something for their children, which can even be increasingly difficult when you consider how many different costs you have in retirement.
Absolutely. I mean, you know, and it depends on what kind of money these people have. If they have a lot of 401k and IRA money, in my opinion, they're better off spending that down through their life, doing what the things they want, and if they can take a little extra out each month and buy some type of tax-free life insurance policy, leave tax-free money to their kids rather than grow all their IRA assets, take money as they need it, and then when they die, leave a big taxable account to their children. So again, it's a case-by-case basis. We really got to worry about the family first, and then once they're taken care of, we can talk about the children.
Yeah, you have to kind of look at that as the gravy, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And it's also difficult, too, because people just, they're so nervous. And there's a study saying for healthcare expenses alone, it's nearly $250,000 that a couple might have to spend in their lifetime.
Right, exactly.
So there's so much
in retirement
in their lifetime.
Yeah.
It's so much to take into consideration, so people can sit down with you. But if people want to get a little bit of a taste of you, besides what we do every Wednesday and besides the one-on-one meeting, they can go to one of your seminars.
Okay, yeah. We try to do one a week. They're called Are You Prepared for 30 Years Without a Paycheck? And really what we're doing is we're talking to people that are already retired as well as getting ready to retire. If you're 50 and older and you're starting to think about retirement or already in retirement, I highly recommend calling George at the office, finding out the upcoming dates and availability. I know we have some coming up next week in Hamden at La Cucina.
Next Wednesday the 5th.
Yeah, and then we're going to be doing some others after that in Longmeadow at Twin Hills Country Club Restaurant. And we've got some on the books for Ludlow, the Villa Rose. So they're going to be coming up on a weekly basis. Call George. They are by reservation only.
And they fill up pretty fast.
And they fill up fast. I know, I think I spoke to George on my way in here this morning. In Hampton House next week is full, but we might add an extra night because we got a lot of people still responding.
And it's tasty food, too. So you go in, you get a meal,
Yep, crazy Alfredo over there is delicious.
Is it really?
Yeah, it really is.
All right, I'll have to set that up. If I can go ahead, I'll reserve that as my meal.
Absolutely.
Dylan, it's a pleasure having you here.
Good to be here.
I learned something every Wednesday with you, and if you want to learn more, you can visit bondfinancialservices.net or call 413-754-4747. Just let Dylan, George, and the whole staff at Bond Financial Services take steps to secure your financial future.